If you had told me years ago that I'd get ahead of other project managers by doing 3 things, I would not believe you. It isn't going to happen just by learning how to use Microsoft Project or becoming certified. As someone who has leveled up in rank from engineer to engineering project manager, and now manager, I can tell you that these skills are the bare minimum to just keep swimming, as Dory says it in Finding Nemo. Almost every project manager out there knows how to create a project plan, leads huddles, and analyzes timelines. Raise your hand if you already do that. But this is just scratching the surface, and it's not gonna make you better than 99% of other project managers. As we get into this video, drop me a comment down below. What are some things that you do as a project manager to help you succeed in your role? Let's engage with each other so we can build our community and help each other with our careers. So tip 1, develop a business and a strategic mindset. Ooh. That's a handful. And I'm not talking about getting a fancy MBA degree from an Ivy League university like Harvard, or just reading all these dozens of books. The top 1% of project managers, they know how to ask the right questions to understand the business case and why the project is important. It's not enough to just tell leadership that your project is off track or over budget, or even preparing PowerPoint slide decks. Everyone knows how to do that. Everyone knows how to create a PowerPoint slide. But can you tell me in less than 3 sentences why your project is important to your company? What's the vision behind it? If you can't communicate to me what your vision is, how can you expect other people to follow you and feel inspired? How can you run the show, so to speak, if you can't communicate it? You see, the top 1% of project managers are visionaries, and they can communicate to anyone who asks about their project, where it's headed, and why it's going to transform the company. Even though our job title has the word manager in it, it does not mean that people automatically listen to us, right? We don't have lines of people saying yes to us like they would to watch the latest season of Squid Games 2 on Netflix.
One more round.
Am I right? Which, by the way, I cannot wait to watch it once it does get released. Come on, Netflix. So we need to inspire and motivate people with our words. Here's an example. We're launching a new product by the end of next year that will transform the lives of thousands of patients who need surgery in the hospital. Of course, I've simplified this quite a bit and I've left some details out, but the idea is there. I call this your project pitch. You state what you're doing, by what time period, the impact that's going to have, and who the targeted audience is. If you have numbers that you can use to quantify things, or you can tell a story in less than 3 sentences, you can absolutely put a little bit more oomph into your project pitch. That way, if a manager or a director asks you what your project's about, you can tell them your project pitch as if you're being featured on one of my favorite TV shows about business called Shark Tank. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, be sure to smash that like button because it inspires me to create high quality content just like this. Tip number 2, get comfortable being uncomfortable. In my first PM job as an engineering project manager, I didn't know what I was doing. I was building the plane while I was flying it. I had to learn everything by trial and error to see what was working and what wasn't working, with planning projects, analyzing costs and timelines, leading retrospectives, and building up our team's performance. I felt like Kobe Bryant from the Lakers, trying to drive our team on the court, trying to win the NBA basketball championships, but I was still learning the ropes. And at the time, I just switched out of being an engineer who just did technical work day in and day out. And here I was leading teams, managing much bigger projects, which I had never done before in my entire life. So I had to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And fast forward years later, I'm still embracing this mindset. I'm willing to fail as long as I learn from my mistakes and I keep pushing forward. When it comes to managing projects, I found that we have to work hard to challenge assumptions and define what's inside and outside the scope of our project. We need to be laser focused on defining what our definition of success is. If you don't know what success means, how can you tell if your project is considered successful? The other day, I was actually leading planning sessions for my project, and we really had to challenge each other. It can feel uncomfortable at times. Is the real purpose behind our project to improve the yield of our process? What happens if we don't improve the yield by 20%? Does that mean our project is a failure? I hope not. Or is our project considered successful as long as we deliver a working machine to our customer? These minor details, they can make or break your project and make you stay up late at night because you're worried that expectations aren't met. And they're not realistic, when all you had to do was challenge it, even if it means feeling uncomfortable in that moment. So the next way to get ahead and be successful is by being forward thinking and be proactive. One of my all-time favorite motivational hip hop songs is Lose Yourself by Eminem, and I love this part. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime, right? As project managers, we're responsible for turning these opportunities into major wins for our team and our company. It all comes down to thinking about what's coming down the pipeline. Are you thinking ahead 3 to even 4 months from now? Are you seeing what are potential issues that we need to prevent as a team? Let me give you one example. On one of my projects, right after we had our kickoff, we started talking about procuring parts from all of our suppliers. But Alvin, why would you want to do that? Let me tell you, because our team is looking ahead to see what would pose the biggest risk to our timeline. Success always leaves clues. Time and time again, we know that the most common gating item is procuring long lead items, which will delay our schedule by months. So if there's anything you do to switch up your game, flip it 360 degrees, look 3 to 4 months ahead. Which activity needs to be talked about right now so you can avoid issues down the road? I always want to over-deliver and give you even more value. So let's talk about my bonus tip. The top 1% of project managers are not paper pushers. Instead, we build relationships with other people. Yes, it is true that we look at project schedules with Excel or Microsoft Project, and yeah, we're in a lot of meetings. But you know what we are not? We are not paper pushers. Erase that out of your mind right now. We are not paper pushers. We build relationships with other people because that's the key to making our project a huge success. Have you ever watched the movie Shawshank Redemption featuring Morgan Freeman, who in my opinion has this deep voice of God? It's actually one of my favorite movies, and it's about a man who must serve a lifetime sentence in prison for a crime he didn't even commit. But inside of prison, he builds connections and relationships with other people so he can start to figure out a way out of prison. This mindset is how we should approach working as project managers. Will making my PowerPoint slide a little bit prettier with larger fonts or a nicer image make a huge impression? Probably not, but you know what will drive results? Getting to know the people on your team, understanding who they are. What do they like to do for fun on the weekends? Do they like to go biking on a trail or maybe fishing? Maybe they like to go to concerts. What are they passionate about outside of work? By the way, if you watched this video so far, I want to learn more about you. Do me a favor and drop me a comment down below. What is one of your favorite hobbies or passions? For me, I grew up learning to play the piano, and in high school, it was one of my favorite hobbies to sit down, just play some music on the keys from the 80s like Elton John, Billy Joel, to even some Disney music. Leave me a comment down below because I am so excited to learn more about you. So when you connect with someone beyond their actual job title, you're starting to build that human touch, which I think personally is starting to get lost, especially as our society continues to evolve with artificial intelligence and ChatGPT. If there's anything that you take away from this video, leave every single interaction on a positive note and be remembered as someone that they want to work with again. I've learned so much in my career as an engineering project manager, and if you want to succeed, please watch this video next to avoid these biggest myths, and I'll see you in the next video.